Listen, I'm about to make a very bold claim, but I promise you, if you stay to the end of this video, it is going to be almost impossible for you to not be in agreement with me. The VA home loan is the greatest mortgage product that has ever been created that exists on the market right now in the USA. It is one of the most powerful wealth building tools known to man. Most veterans have heard of the VA loan, but very few actually understand how it works and how powerful it is. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the VA loan in plain English so you know exactly who qualifies for the loan, what the benefits are, what programs exist, and if you stay to the end, I'm going to show you how smart U.S. military veterans are using their VA benefits to not just buy a house, but to pay off debt at closing all at the same time. Let me give you a formal introduction. My name is Greg West. I'm a licensed mortgage loan officer, and I've been in the mortgage industry for 10 years, helping families build wealth through real estate. And unfortunately, one of the things that I've come across more often than not is that the VA loan is not prioritized by mortgage companies. Most real estate professionals don't understand how the program works. And so as a result, U.S. military veterans are underserved, which is an oxymoron when you think about it, because these are the same people that have sacrificed their lives in some cases to serve our country. Too many veterans are being told no when they should be getting told yes. Veterans are getting turned down for loans they should be getting approved for, and most of this can be cleared up with proper education. Now, before I explain how this program works, I want to give you a shocking statistic that I think you need to know. There's an estimated 20 million veterans in America. Only 3.7 million of these military veterans are using their benefits to purchase real estate. So that means we got somewhere between 15 and 17 million veterans not using the benefit to buy a house that they've earned through their service to our country. So in this video, we're going to clear all of that up. By the time you finish watching this, you are not going to look at your VA benefits the same. Now, before we move further, smash that like button. Now, I made some pretty bold claims about the VA loan being the greatest home mortgage product of all time, so I better get to backing it up. Let me go ahead and get started with the VA loan benefits and program highlights. I'm going to show you why the VA loan is one of the strongest products in the country. The first and probably the most obvious and most common, which you guys have probably already heard before, is that the VA loan doesn't require a down payment. So if the barrier to home ownership, having to put money down, veterans and service members don't have to worry about it, because regardless, the down payment is 0%. And so that allows a veteran or service member to get in a house without having to chunk out $5, $10, $15, $20,000 at closing. I think we're getting out to a good start with proving that this thing is the best product available. The second thing is that there's never private mortgage insurance on a VA loan. Now, private mortgage insurance, in case you don't know what that is, it's an annoying, expensive fee that lenders tack onto a mortgage payment as a result of a buyer not putting 20% down on a conventional loan or using an FHA loan, regardless of how much they put down. This insurance protects the lender against defaults. If you buy a house and you don't put 20% down on a conventional loan and you stop making the payments, you default on that loan, the insurance protects the lender, and for whatever reason, if the loan has to get bought back, the insurance would do that. Because the government backs the VA loan, private mortgage insurance is irrelevant and not required. That's going to save a veteran anywhere from $200 to $400 to $500 a month on average. So a VA loan will never have private mortgage insurance ever. So it's always cheaper to use a VA loan. Now, here's something that there's a lot of confusion around the next thing I'm about to say, but I'm going to clarify this so you don't have to be confused anymore. There is no minimum credit score to use a VA loan. Now, again, I told you guys I'm a licensed loan officer. The last 5 or 6 VA loans I've just closed in the last 45 days before recording this video, the credit scores were in the 550, 560, 570 range. The problem with most veterans is that they're calling lenders like USAA, Navy Federal, and Veterans United because those are popular companies that target veterans as it pertains to home ownership. They're going to tell you, if you apply for a VA loan through them, that the credit score minimum is 620. And other banks will tell you the same thing. The bigger box lenders, the credit unions, and obviously the 3 banks I just mentioned, they're going to tell you the credit score is a 620, but it's not. There is no minimum credit score. You can look that up in the VA handbook, and I'll put a note on the screen so you can literally see it. The VA doesn't have a minimum. Lenders have a minimum, and those minimums are called overlays. Overlays are guidelines over and beyond what the VA handbook has already stipulated. So if your credit score is not there and you still want to purchase a house, You don't have to wait years to get in the game and buy a house. You just need to find the right lender. And this is why I specialize in helping military veterans that don't necessarily have the best credit, because these tend to be the people that get overlooked the most. And that's one of my favorite benefits. Now, another really cool benefit, if you are someone that wants to build a real estate portfolio or become a landlord, is the VA loan allows you to purchase a house 2 to 4 unit with no money down. That means you can buy a duplex, triplex, or quadruplex without a down payment. There is no other mortgage product that will allow you to buy a quadruplex with 0% down. Now, you have to live in one of the units that you're not going to be renting out. You got to live in one of the units. I'm going to say at least a year. The VA handbook doesn't specify a year, but most lenders are going to want you to stay in the property for at least 12 months. So don't do nothing crazy. But you could become a landlord immediately and learn how being a landlord works and make money and build wealth through real estate at 0% down. Again, there's no other product that allows you to do that. Now, back during COVID in 2020, there used to be a loan limit called the county loan limit, and every loan limit per county was different, but there is no max loan limit. So if you're a military veteran, you're making really good money, you got solid credit, and you want to buy $1 million house, your VA benefits allow you to do that with 0% down. And I know that this is true because right after this rule was passed in 2020, I ended up closing a $1.5 million VA loan in Texas. So I know it's true, but most veterans don't realize that they can use their benefits to purchase custom luxury real estate. Now, this next thing I'm going to tell you is also a myth. And that's once I use my VA loan disappears and I don't have the benefits anymore. It's a one-time, one and done thing. That's not true. The VA loan is a reusable benefit for life. So let me explain how this works. When you purchase your house with a VA loan, you're tapping into your basic entitlement. As long as you don't purchase $1 million house, you will have something left over called bonus entitlement. So you purchase one house, you live in it for a little bit, and you decide, hey, you know what? I'm gonna rent this house out and I'm gonna go buy another house. Well, when you buy the other house and you rent that one out, you will be tapping into something called bonus entitlement. And almost every veteran I know, unless they live in California, New York, or New Jersey, where the cost of houses are much more, unless you live in one of those high cost markets, 9 times out of 10 you have bonus entitlement available for you to use your benefits again to purchase another house. So don't fall into the trap of thinking that your benefits are one and done, because they're not. Now, the next benefit might not sound like a benefit at first, but just pay attention. There's a annoying funding fee that almost every veteran has to pay for when they purchase a house using their VA benefits. Now, one thing I almost forgot to mention is that the VA loan doesn't have a DTI or debt to income ratio limit. That means if your debt to income ratio is on the higher end, you can still get approved for a VA loan. Now, FHA has a limit of 56.99%. Fannie and Freddie Mac through the conventional loan, the DTI limit is 50% or 49.99%. And if you're using a USDA loan, the DTI is much lower. It's like 41 or 43% depending on the lender that you're working with, right? But the VA loan doesn't have a limit. The VA is not just looking at DTI or credit. They're looking at the overall situation of the service member or the veteran. And this is a good thing because it allows more vets to get in houses. So the problem isn't the restrictions. The problem is most veterans are going to the wrong lender, because remember, we talked about this before, lenders put overlays on top of the guidelines. So it is incredibly important that if your debt to income ratio is on the higher end, you might need to shop around to make sure that you work with a lender that can work with a higher debt ratio. Now, when you think about all the benefits I just mentioned, it's kind of hard. It's almost impossible to put another product up against the VA loan and consider it a better product. 0% down, no private mortgage insurance, no minimum credit score, buying a 2 to 4 unit with no money down, no max loan amount, a reusable benefit for life using bonus entitlement, funding fee can be waived with 10% disability, no limit on seller credits. In some states, 100% disabled veterans don't have property taxes, and no debt to income ratio limit. There is no other mortgage program out there with that many benefits attached to it. So it's pretty hard for a veteran to get denied for a loan. If you're getting denied for a loan 9 times out of 10, it's because you used the wrong lender. So now that we understand how the VA loan works and the benefits that come with the program, we need to establish who actually qualifies for the VA loan. You'd be surprised. I hear so many active duty service members and veterans thinking they don't qualify because they haven't been in the service long enough. They haven't separated from service. They haven't retired yet, or they haven't spent a certain amount of time. They haven't been in for 20 years. All of that's a myth. If you belong to one of the groups that you are going to see on the screen, you qualify for the VA loan. So the first group is a veteran, obviously, right? If you are a U.S. military veteran, you qualify for the VA loan. The second group is going to be active duty service members, whether that's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and you're usually eligible after 90 days of service. Purple Heart recipients. This is something that doesn't get talked about enough, but if you are a Purple Heart recipient, you qualify for the VA loan. The surviving spouse of a veteran who has passed away in service or from a service-connected disability, you may qualify for the VA loan. And then last but not least, the National Guard. Now, the National Guard is a little tricky because you have to have served at least 6 years of honorable service or 90 days under Title 10. So based on this group, you can see that this has nothing to do with how long you've been in versus what rank you held. It is all based on the sacrifice and service that you provided. Another myth that is out there that active duty service members and military veterans believe is that there's just one type of loan, and that's not true either. There are a package of loans available to military veterans and service members, and the type of loan you decide to go with all depends on the goal that you are trying to accomplish. So we're gonna list these loan programs pretty quick on the screen so you'll see what's available. Now, the first program is gonna be the VA Standard Purchase Loan. This is going to be the most popular option. If you're buying a house for the first, second, or third time, this is likely the option that you're going to use. Whether you're buying a new construction house, buying a pre-existing house, a single family, townhouse, condo, whatever the case may be, this is the standard VA loan. And this is what most people use, right? It's a pretty popular option. But what happens if you buy the house, you build equity in the house, and then you want to take some cash out or you want to pull some equity from the house? Well, that's the VA cash out refi. As long as you do not live in the state of Texas, you can do a VA cash out refi, take that cash out, pay off high interest debt, tackle some home improvement projects around the house, go buy other real estate or whatever it is that you want to do. But that option is available for veterans. Now, this next option is going to be one of my favorites. It's called the VA Streamline Refi, better known as the VA IRRL, or Interest Rate Reduction Refinance Loan. It's the greatest refinance product available because it doesn't require the veteran to submit any paperwork other than a mortgage statement and a payoff statement from the current lender. And so you can use that program to drop your interest rate. And right now, at the time of this recording, if your interest rate is above 6%, you are paying too high of an interest rate. You're wasting a lot of money and you're leaving savings on the table. So please contact the loan officer to get a quote so you can drop your interest rate. Now, another product that, again, you don't really hear talked about much is the VA renovation loan. This is where you can purchase a house that needs repairs, right? It needs new floors, a new kitchen, new paint, things of that particular nature. And you can use your VA benefits to purchase the house with 0% down. Whatever the renovation budget is, you add it to the price that you agree to pay for the house for. And then you have one 30-year fixed loan for everything all included. Really cool loan. I'll do a separate video on that later, explaining how that works and breaking it down to you just in case you guys are interested. And like I said, it's a loan that you don't hear talked about much. And this other product is the same thing. It doesn't get talked about much, and that's the VA one-time construction close, which allows the veteran to purchase land and build a house all on one 30-year fixed loan. So really cool loan. You can literally build your own custom house with 0% down without having to worry about a down payment. And veterans, like I said before, can purchase multifamily real estate, 2 to 4 units, as long as they live in one of the units. And then last but not least, if you're in Texas, you can use the Texas Veterans Land Board. If you're not ready to build just yet, but you want to secure land, you can do that with just 5% down and no minimum credit score. So like I said before, the right VA program, it really just depends on the goal. Everybody has a different set of goals. I believe that the average veteran is just going to use the VA standard purchase loan to purchase a house to live in. But if your goals are different, you would pick the program based on your goal. All right, so you made it to the end of this video, and I promised you that if you made it this far in the video, I will give you a bonus. Now, what I'm about to tell you next is the most groundbreaking, earth-shattering thing you are ever going to hear about the VA loan. After hearing this, you're never going to be able to see the VA loan the same. Nobody's talking about this. The banks are not going to tell you this. Smart U.S. military veterans can buy a house with their benefits, but not just buy a house. They can also pay off debt, all using one loan transaction with their VA benefits. Yes, you heard me right. You can purchase a house and pay off debt all at the same time. Now, here's how that works. When you go to buy a house, you're going to have your real estate agent draw up a contract, and they're going to negotiate what's called a seller credit. A seller credit is a fancy term for the seller paying your closing costs. We mentioned this before. The VA loan is only no money down when the seller pays the closing costs. The seller doesn't pay the closing costs, the veteran has to pay it, which means it's no longer no money down. So this works in most markets because it's taking so long to get real estate sold. If houses are sitting on the market for 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 plus days, then guess what? You have the power to negotiate as a buyer. I know this doesn't work in California, New York, and New Jersey, and certain parts in the northeastern part of the U.S., but it works in most markets. So most people think that the seller credit limit is 4% on a VA loan, and that's not true either. There is no limit. The 4% limit that most people think is the cap only includes if the seller wants to give you a gift, if the seller wants to buy furniture, if the seller wants to pay for appliances, if they want to prepay property taxes, if they want to prepay homeowners insurance for you, or pay your funding fee, or pay off a debt for you, that is where the 4% limit comes in. So if you buy a $400,000 house, the 4% limit would be $16,000. With that $16,000, you can pay off debt with it. Now, what that 4% limit doesn't include is standard closing costs to purchase a house, such as title fees, lender fees, appraisal, homeowners insurance, escrow, transfer taxes in certain places. It doesn't include that. So you can get the 4% and some if you want to. And this is a real thing. I know y'all might be hearing this and like, man, who's giving up that much seller credits? The last 5 transactions that I have closed as a loan originator, the seller paid the closing costs and 2 or 3 credit cards off. Now, of course, you're not going to the seller and saying, hey, seller, pay my debt, but you are having your real estate agent structure your deal accordingly so that you can benefit off of it. So this is why the VA loan is the greatest home mortgage product of all time. When it is used correctly, the VA loan is not just a wealth building tool, but it's a financial weapon of mass destruction. And because most people are not talking about this stuff, veterans are missing out. All right, we made it to the very end of this video. I want to express my gratitude if you made it this far. Thank you so much for watching this. If you're a military veteran or service member, my goal is to help you not just buy a house, but to max out your benefits and understand how to properly use your benefits in the most effective way that you possibly can. So if you found value in this video, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share it with your buddies. If you want to apply for a loan with me, I'm going to leave a link in the description. You can click that and it'll pretty much take you where you need to go. If you want a one-on-one consultation, you can find it using that link as well. And last but not least, I want to grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers as soon as I can so I can help as many veterans and military service members as I possibly can. So please make sure you share this video, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.